Put that in the chat. Something greater. Debrena, what is this something greater about? Well, one of the things that happened in this last 5 weeks is a few days ago, I did something that I very rarely do, which is I signed up for and paid for, not free, paid for this guy's program. Had never heard of him before. And I actually started signing up, exited out. I saw an IG ad, exited out. Then I said, God, am I supposed to do this? God said yes. And I said, why? And that is what has lit a fire under my butt, is being in that particular course, which hit exactly on what I needed and answered exactly the questions I had. So I am on the other side of that course to tell you all about a new understanding that is really, really relevant for all of us. So good morning, good morning, good morning. Please let me know where you're joining me from. Hello, hello. Thank you, Jandria, for putting that in the chat. Something greater. What is Debrena talking about? Well, I'm going to take you back. And I want to show you this little book. Many of you have never seen this version of Sacred Pampering Principles. My first nationally published book. But before it looked like this, and before HarperCollins bought the rights to market the book and paid me in advance, and I went on a national book tour and national TV, and I was in Oprah and Essence and all of that, it started with this little booklet that came out. I paid a publisher in Tacoma, Washington, about an hour from here, to publish this, really to print it for me. This is the first version of Sacred Pampering Principles from 1993, y'all. So this is how it started, and this is what it grew up into. And when this version of Sacred Pampering Principles came out in 1997 nationally through HarperCollins, I was only 28 years old. And here it is in 2024. And in just the last few years, we've begun to talk about self-care. But I was never talking about just self-care. I was talking about something called sacred self-care. So it isn't just mind and body, it's also spirit. And now I understand, and this is why a fire is under my butt, that this juicy woman lifestyle, this body of work that I have been refining and deepening and widening and cultivating, is really about the sacred self-caring consciousness. And that, my beloveds, is what is to move us into a new movement. A new movement. Juicy Woman Lifestyle is to be a movement. That was one of the things I got out of this awesome course I did. It is not just this awesome lineup of courses and programs, transformational courses and programs that have been impacting hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of Black women's lives. Not just change, but transformation for decades. It is to be a movement. So I'm going to be telling you about why the sacred self-caring consciousness and the Juicy Woman lifestyle is a movement, not just some behavior change, not just some new things to do to be good to yourself. It's much wider, deeper, higher, and powerful than that. And that's the something greater. Yes, let me know where you're joining me from. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome. I should say welcome back, because last Wednesday I took a little time out, didn't do my Living the Juicy Life Facebook Live. So today is episode 6. So if you have been joining me all along, glad to see you again. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome, welcome, welcome anew and afresh. So what is Living the Juicy Life about? Oh, look at that. You can send that? Ice is sending hugs. Isn't that fabulous? The things we can do on social media these days. Oh my goodness. So here's how this concept started. 1992, Debrena was 26 years old. And then, dun, 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 it comes out nationally, HarperCollins, 1997. And here we are almost 28 years later. And just in the last few years, Black women have started to talk about self-care. So I have been 25 years ahead of the curve. That's because this is about a movement, not just about self-care. This is about the sacred self-caring consciousness, which is the consciousness that a juicy woman has. And a juicy woman is in contrast to a dry woman. So we're going to talk about that contrast today, just so you can really vividly understand what is Debrena talking about. This juicy woman lifestyle, isn't that just a fad? Isn't that just a hashtag? No! I now understand it is to be a movement. It is to be the new paradigm. It is to be the new foundation of how we live, move, engage, relate in life. Because, oh my goodness, that old mode, I'm going to call it that old mode, that dry woman mode has been in the driver's seat way too long. Can I get an amen? Let's talk about the dry mode versus the juicy woman lifestyle, because this is a new mode. I have a program, a powerful program I did for several years called Juicy Woman University, 12-month life transformation program. And by about the 8th month of 12 months, women would start to get it. Debrena, you aren't just talking about doing some things to be good to myself and being sure I put me first. And I said, no, that should be the fruit of the consciousness. But it isn't just the focus. Let's get the consciousness in place and we will automatically make more self-honoring choices. Automatically, we will manage our energy differently. Automatically, we will not have a hard time saying no without guilt. Automatically, we'll elevate our relationship with our body from body to body temple. Automatically, we will understand, because we're operating from this new mode, this new paradigm, this juicy woman lifestyle. We'll understand that it really wasn't about me first, me first, me first, me first. It was about putting me back in the center of my own life, like the sun is in the center of our solar system. So, welcome to something greater, which is the new mode. Let's make it the new MO for women. So let me give you some compare contrast. I want to paint a little picture here for you. Hello, hello, yes and amen. Put it in the chat. Where are you joining me from? Where are you joining me from? Thank you for joining me for either your morning starting or your afternoon beginning. I'm so glad you could join me for Living the Juicy Life. This is episode 6. What is the something greater that I'm talking about? So let me create a little contrast for you, because I teach about being a juicy woman. Well, what is that in contrast to? It's in contrast to what I'm going to call the old mode. And I'm going to call that old mode Reboo mode. REBOO. Reboo mode is going to represent the old mode that I want to usher us out of. Reboo mode represents the mode of the dry woman. And guess what? How most of us were raised, how most of us were conditioned, what this Western American culture will push you into, left to its own devices, is to be in Reboo mode, to be a dry woman. Reboo stands for ripping and running, frenetic, always on the go, hard time holding still. E, efforting, pushing, making it happen, forcing and controlling way too much. B, busyness, constant motion. And even if we hold our body still, our minds are still racing. Busyness. O, for overdoing, doing way too much. When I wrote Sacred Pampering Principles, I called it the Strong Black Woman Syndrome. But now I call it the Atlas Syndrome, where we are carrying way too much on our shoulders And a lot of that has been things we have put onto our own shoulders, not just stuff others have put on our shoulders. Did you hear me? I call it the Atlas syndrome. I got to do it. No one else will do it. No one else is available. No one else will support me. No one else will do it quite the way I do it. If I don't do it, it won't get done. That's Atlas syndrome. And it will have you weighed down, worn out, depleted, overweight, aching joints, low energy, resentful. Atlas syndrome, part of that overdoing. And that last O of REBOO, that old mode, reboot mode, O is for overwhelm. Ripping and running, efforting, busyness, overwhelm, overdoing, and overwhelm. That is the fruit of the old mode, the dry woman mode. But let's take it a little further, because I want you to put this through a filter of how you've been moving, engaging, showing up, and believing in your own life. And to be in reboot mode, to be in dry woman mode, what I want us to recognize is that comes from a very specific set of core beliefs about ourselves, about life, about God, and about others. So it isn't just behavior. Reboot mode describes the behavior, but the behavior arises out of some very specific beliefs, scripts, programming, conditioning, life view, self view, God view, others view, view of others. Are y'all getting me? So if I'm talking about, hello, good morning. So if I am talking about a new mode, juicy woman, the sacred self-caring consciousness, a new mode for women, not the reboot mode, not the dry woman mode. That has been the norm for decades, far too long, for a lot of reasons, but it's time to come out. It's time to leave it behind. And I'm not talking about just some change. This course that I was in that lit a fire under my butt last week. I love the analogy he used. He said, we're not talking about change like make the water better. Go from tap water to spring water. He said, we're talking about water to wine. That's transformation. Okay. We're not just talking about improvement and change. Okay. So when I talk about the Juicy Woman lifestyle, and this broadcast is called Living the Juicy Life. This is episode 6. I am talking about, ladies, not horizontal, forward, movement, progress, goals, timeline, step forward, step, step. That's horizontal movement. To come out of dry woman reboot mode, we have to elevate vertically. This is the old direction, horizontal, goals, steps, plans, move forward, even the language, move forward, progress. That's the old mode we're leaving behind. The new mode is about going higher, elevating, and deeper inward. That's where the healing work that 99% of us have not done happens. The forgiveness work, Healing 101, you know my teachings. Healing 101 is forgiveness work. I'm amazed at how few of us have done intentional, repeated, because it's levels and layers to the clean out we got to do. The forgiveness work of self and others. And it's really personal liberation work. Regardless of the misinformation you got about what forgiveness is, it is personal liberation work. So I'm amazed at how few of us have done any personal and intentional more than once as part of your life cycle, personal liberation work. So when I talk about this new mode, juicy woman lifestyle, the sacred self-caring consciousness, which is like the operating system, your new LOS, you know, we have an operating system for our computers. So Android has an operating system. Apple phones have an operating system. The new LOS, life operating system, that I want to invite you up into, not forward into. You go up and then forward when you talk about transformation. You go up, elevate, or inward. It's a vertical movement. You go in or up to go forward. Are y'all with me? You go in or up to go forward. Would somebody put that in the chat? You go in or up to go forward. You got to elevate, higher level of consciousness, change in your scripting, change in your conditioning, change in what you say. This is just how it is. So how do you know if you might still be in that old mode, that dry woman mode? Well, it produces some fruit. So there's some fruit starting with the letter D. Let's talk about some of the D fruit, okay? Some of the D fruit: depleted, tired, low energy, emotionally depleted, spiritually empty, physically low energy, feeling tapped out, feeling worn out, feeling tired of. That's depleted. Little apathetic, feeling a little resigned. Same old. That's depleted. Another D fruit of the old mode, the dry woman mode, that reboot mode: discord, inner restlessness and discontent, inner conflict, inner civil war. Let me give you an example. I also have a whole line of love relationships programming that's part of my company. And I started doing live love academies back in 2009. And then in 2013, started doing live events with men. And then in 2014, my first love relationships book, The Love Lies, came out. And it is amazing to me when I'm in my course for women that would like to be a wife in 1 to 3 years, called Preparation for Partnership, or if I'm in my Love Academy 101 or my Love Lies Detox course, how much inner discord there is around this notion of desiring to be in a juicy love relationship. That's what I teach. But the inner conflict, because there is unhealed false beliefs and low-level emotions still within someone's system that are creating a conflict with what they say they want. They say they want juicy love relationship, but they still have distrust of men. They say they want a juicy love relationship, but they still have 5 levels of fences, walls, and blockades around their heart because of unhealed past experiences. They're still unhealed from past experiences that still live in their present system in the form of low-level emotions: rage, disappointment, rejection, anger. That's discord. That dry life creates a lot of discord. You say one thing, you claim this is important, your choices aren't lined up with that. You say this is what you value, but you have beliefs that are a contradiction to that you're holding and you're not even aware of it. Discord. That is one of the fruits of the dry life. D fruit, discord. Another one of the D fruits of that old mode I want to bring you out of, that dry life, that dry woman living, that reboot, ripping and running, efforting, busyness, overwhelm, overdoing, that mode that I want to bring you out of is disappointment. Disappointment in God, which is very hard for us to admit, especially as Black women. And in my courses and programs, they're based in truth. One of the characteristics of transformation versus just personal development and improvement is healing is involved and truth is involved. And one of the truths that women are able to confess or admit is, I have some disappointment with God, or I'm angry with God, or I'm upset with God, and I have been for a long time. Well, guess what? That will compromise your intimacy with God. I don't just talk about a relationship with God. You can have a piss poor relationship. You can have a great relationship. You can have a wobbly relationship, a weak relationship. It's not just about a relationship with God. It's about intimacy with God. Intimacy with God, not just a relationship. So if you quietly, because of something that has happened in your life, around you or to you, you're disappointed, in God, you're angry with God, it will undermine and compromise your ability to move in intimacy with God. And all the rewards and all the fruit and all the blessings that flow from intimacy with God. So one of the D fruits that many of us are walking around with is disappointment. Maybe disappointment in ourselves. We haven't done our self-forgiveness work. And right now, August 28th, 2024, we're still quietly beating ourselves up about something that happened in the past. If you're still beating yourself up in the present, please put this in the chat. If you're still beating yourself up in the present about something that happened in your past, you're still in jail around that thing. You're still in jail. When I was in this course, this powerful course that was the answer for me to some of the final puzzle pieces I needed to click into place to fully get that what I've been prepared for, what I've been teaching about, what I've been talking about with this Juicy Woman lifestyle is not just awesome courses and programs, transformational courses and programs. It's a movement. And so when I was thinking about the difference between personal development and transformation is what's required to come out of that old mode. I drew in my journal that I was taking notes in for this course a picture of a gel cell. So let's say I had a box drawn in my journal. And then I showed arrows, the same way you can click the edge of an image, drag it upward and make it bigger. Then I showed a larger gel cell. And then outside of that, I showed a larger square. And I said, it is very easy for us to be in a jail cell and we just keep getting more square footage in the jail cell, but we're still in jail. In our beliefs, in our thinking, in our understanding, in our norms, in our scripts, in our MOs. Still in dry woman mode, and we think we are transforming. And you're just getting a bigger jail cell and upgrading the furniture in the jail cell. But I'm talking about crossing over the line out of the jail cell into a completely different arena and dimension. I'm calling that the Juicy Woman lifestyle. Y'all with me? All right, so some of the fruit that old mode produces, the mode that too many of us are still in, we talked about D fruit depletion, D fruit disappointment, D fruit discord. Let's talk about D fruit dis-ease disease. The body temple is not the source of disease. It's the medium of it. So when you experience dis-ease, disease in your body, it started at the spiritual or emotional level. The root cause. Now there might be environmental exacerbators, but so many of the dis-eases that manifest in our bodies, especially the degenerative diseases, have a root cause at the emotional, spiritual level. So when I look at the amount of cancer that is plaguing our nation, I remember when I started doing seminars, sacred pampering seminars based on my first book, and I would poll women, a group of women in a room. I'd say, how many of you, and this goes back 25 years ago, how many of you in this room, raise your hand if you know of someone who has cancer? Someone you know. 1 hand out of 10 would go up. That was the average. 10% of the hands would go up. Now, if I say, how many of you know someone who has or had cancer, do you know that 9 out of 10 hands go up 25 years later? What is going on? The billions that have been poured into cancer research, more and more technology, social media, AI, self-driving cars. How is it that the occurrence of cancer, the incidence of cancer, and the forms of cancer has proliferated exponentially instead of decreased? Because it's not physical. That's where it's manifesting. But the root cause still exists. Do you know that one of the number one emotional, spiritual causes of cancer is long-held resentment. How come we all don't have cancer in our bones? How come we all don't have cancer in our breast? How come we all don't have cancer in our cervix? How come we all don't have cancer in our throat? How come we all don't have cancer in our pancreas? How come we all don't have cancer in our kidney? How come we all don't have cancer in our stomach? Those are all places cancer can manifest. There's a correlation. So really what this extreme epidemic of out of control cancer is letting us know is how unhealed we are as a culture. We're the sickest first world country. How unhealed we are. And it's manifesting through our body temples. So another one of the D fruits of that reboot mode, that dry woman mode that has been the norm and still has a grip on too many of us, is D fruit of dis-ease, disease manifesting in our bodies. Well, is there some other fruit that the dry life produces? Yes, indeed. It produces some S fruit. Y'all writing the fruit down? Write the fruit down. You got the D fruit? Let's move on to the S fruit. What are some of the S fruit that the reboot mode, the dry woman mode, the mode that has been the mode in the jail cell that a lot of us have been in? We just keep making upgrades to the furniture in our jail cell. We keep making upgrades to the furniture in our jail cell, but we're still in the jail cell. Or we get a bigger jail cell. Okay, 8 by 8, 16 by 16, 32 by 32, but you're still in the cell. There's a line you got to cross. And on the other side of that line is another way. On the other side of that line is something greater. And it's called the Juicy Woman Lifestyle. And guess what? The operating system, the LOS, the life operating system of this movement, it's really to be a movement. Juicy Woman Lifestyle, that's to be the new norm, a movement. Women exiting in mass out of dry mode, reboot mode, crossing the line out of the jail cell of reboot mode and dry woman mode into a new reality. And you can't get there by moving horizontally forward. You get there via transformation, which takes you up, elevate, new different levels of believing, conditioning, thinking, premises, scripts, beliefs, inner software, beliefs, and it takes you inward. This is the old axis. This is the transformational axis. This is the axis of change, forward movement, progress, goals. This is the axis of transformation. This is the axis you got to be on if you want to come out of dry land into juicy land, out of reboot mode into juicy woman mode, and into what is to be a movement. Woo! So let's talk about some of those S fruit that the dry woman reboot mode produces. Feeling strained. Strained. How many of you know what I'm talking about? Feeling strained. Tension. Because so often we're pushing. We're forcing. We're trying to make it happen. We're driving. We're trying to find. We're on the hunt. We're looking for. A juicy woman understands that when she feeds and nourishes her inner feminine spirit and her inner essence and core, she shifts out of that being the way she makes shit happen. That will wear you the hell out. Go back to the D fruit, depleted. Have you experiencing inner restlessness and being worn out and tired and feeling discord and inner conflict? That's the norm. No, a juicy woman says, one of many differences in how she lives. She invests in her feminine core. She nourishes it on purpose, which means her magnetism is stronger. That means her connection to God is stronger. The bandwidth has widened. So now she's able to activate more on the spiritual level, the unseen level, the cause level in her manifestation process versus trying to make it happen on the physical level all the time. She feels strained. She feels stressed. Stressed. Our capacity is exceeded. Our bandwidth is maxed out. Stressed, stretched, and strained. That's the S fruit. Yes? Did you get that? Someone put those fruit in the chat for me. Then we got the B fruit. We had some D fruit. We had some S fruit. What about some B fruit? Feeling burdened. Feeling burned out. Feeling bound. Even in bondage. Feeling in bondage. Whew. Especially married women. And don't have some kids too. Oh my God, the B fruit is in full effect. Quiet as it's kept. Yeah, you may say blessed and highly favored, a B word, but you're really feeling bound and in bondage and burdened. Hello, tell the truth, because the truth will what? Make you free. Got to be committed to truth, because that is the pathway to transformation. You got to be on the truth pathway at a minimum. Okay? Woo! Some B fruit, some D fruit, some S fruit, and some O fruit. That the reboot mode, the dry woman way of living gives us. The current mode is the old mode. So I really should say the current mode, but I want to say old mode so we think behind us now. We want to depart and leave the dry woman land. We want to come into juicy woman land. There's another land available. I want to bring you out of Egypt. Come on, somebody, and take you into Canaan, where there's milk and honey. Come on, somebody. Did you put that down? What were some of the D fruit? What were some of the B fruit? What were some of the S fruit? Now let's talk about some O fruit. Overwhelmed. Overdoing. Overextended. Overly controlling. Overloaded. And the load, we will always tend to say others are loading me up. Others are putting stuff on me. But guess what? You have to accept the load. You have to accept the load. If someone goes to put something in my hand and I don't extend my hand, then it will fall to the ground. So one of the characteristics of that old mode is we play victim. Like, oh, I have to do it all. I feel so overloaded. I don't have any options. That's how a juicy woman, that's how a dry woman talks. She doesn't even realize her own power in the matter. She doesn't even realize her participation in creating the very scenarios that she hates and resents. She doesn't even realize her own part. This is how powerful she is. She's not aware of her power to train people to engage with her a certain way, including dishonoring her time and energy, including loading stuff on her, including expecting her to do X, Y, Z. You've trained people to engage with you. There's a pattern of engaging with you that over time people have learned from how you participate in it. Are y'all with me? Woo! Y'all got me fired up, but I said I'm bringing some fervor today. Okay? I'm bringing some fervor today because I get it now. This is not about these outstanding transformational courses and programs I've been offering that have been completely altering, shifting, and transforming women's lives. It's about this is to be a movement. This is to be the new norm. The old mode has run the show long enough. So we talked about some D fruit, some S fruit, some B fruit, some O fruit. Ugh, I'm tired just talking about all that rotten fruit. There isn't much good fruit that the reboot mode, the dry woman lifestyle, that old mode produces. It's made us sick. Our relationships, our love relationships are non-existent or in shambles for too many of us. We already had the highest divorce rate in the world here in these United States, and during and since the pandemic, it spiked another 34%. What? We have the highest incarceration rates per capita here in the United States, the highest gun violence rates and homicide rates per capita right here in the United States, the highest percentage of homeless per capita right here in these United States. Pharmaceutical prescription rates, highest right here in these United States. So all of the indicators of us being spiritually grounded and full, emotionally grounded and balanced, are not existing by and large right here in these United States. It is time. It is past time. It is over time for us to leave the dry land, the dry woman land, the reboot mode. Why would you stay there? Why would you stay there? It produces rotten fruit that makes us sick, causes our relationships to implode, be ended, divorce. The divorces, the kind of women that are drawn to my courses are what we call the boss chick types. Highly successful, smart, capable, have the answer, fix stuff, have the solution, the go-to person for their friends, for their family. Among boss chick types, that was where most of those divorces happened during and since the pandemic, because so many of us were operating in dry woman mode, and it started to create conflicts in the home because our butts were home with our loved ones for the first time, for the longest amount of time in maybe our whole lives. And a lot of stuff got exposed during the pandemic. It didn't start, it got exposed during the pandemic. There's a difference. It was already there and it got exposed. The pandemic acted like an illuminator to expose what was already there. And that dry woman mode, oh my God, that reboot mode was in full effect. But there's another way. There's something greater. And it requires the decision to come out of dry woman land. Now, for those of you who may not be familiar in these final kind of few minutes of this time together, I want to just share with you some of what's involved if you come out of dry woman land, the old mode. Because I know it's probably wearing you the hell out. I know. You're tired of chasing and pursuing and striving, and your spirit is tapped. Your feminine spirit is definitely laying on the ground with their tongue out. Your feminine spirit is like, ugh. Your body may be too. Emotionally, you may be too. But the sacred self-caring consciousness is the new LOS, life operating system. It's what I teach. It's what the juicy woman lifestyle is based in, a completely new operating system. Completely different set of premises. There are 7 core premises, new beliefs, core software that you operate from when you're committed to coming out of reboot mode and the dry woman mode into juicy woman mode and the juicy woman lifestyle as your new norm. There's a whole set of principles, spiritually based principles that don't change era to era, generation to generation. They transcend generations. A whole new set of guiding commitments when you are operating as a juicy woman. Different guiding commitments. And there's a whole different set of practices. So you're operating in a completely different framework, from a completely different altitude and a higher dimension. And in that framework, in that dimension, in this new paradigm, guess what? The fruit is different. We already talked about some of the fruit the dry life produces. Look around and it's what we're in right now. But the juicy woman lifestyle produces different fruit, and it better. That's the something greater. What are some of the fruits of the juicy life? Connected to your joy. Joy has been put into your divine design as a human. I got scriptural backup for that. Not going to go into it right now. Scriptural backup for joy being an ingredient God put into you. So all this chasing happiness, trying to pursue and seek and grab and find and hunt and look for, pursue happiness, that is a delusion and an illusion. It's about connecting to the joy built into your being. Could you please put that in the chat? It's about connecting to the joy built into your being. And a juicy woman is connected to that joy. And she knows how to connect to that joy. And her commitment, among many others, is to stay connected to that joy or get reconnected to that joy. She has a certain commitment around her mind. She has a certain commitment around her spirit. She has a certain commitment around her relationship with her body, which we say body temple. Body temple, body temple. We don't just say body in juicy land. We say body temple. That's a different relationship. Understanding and relating to your body as a divine living temple, that's very different than relating to your body as a body. To exercise and work out and feed green smoothies to and go to yoga and dress and put makeup on and clean it. Body as a thing to care for. That's one level, but that's dry woman relationship. Body. Juicy woman is body temple. Wholly different level of relationship with this right here. This divine being right here. Whole different relationship with your heart in terms of emotional. So a juicy woman is committed to doing her forgiveness work so that her heart can be reopened, so she can keep lower level emotions, gunk, funk, and junk out of her heart space. And her heart stay open versus partially closed and more partially closed after an offense, after something makes her angry, after something over time has made her resentful, after stifling her voice time after time, and her heart closes more and more. A juicy woman is committed to her heart staying open. That's the natural state our heart is to be in because of how much it contributes to our magnetism and our ability to attract and draw to us when our heart is open. So when you have offenses and withholds and you're harboring stuff, there's something you haven't cleaned up with somebody else. That's lingering because your spirit records it all. Your spirit has no judgment, but it records it all. So when you have a breakdown or a fallout with someone and it goes uncleaned up, it's like hemorrhaging to your heart. That's why I'm so big on cleaning stuff up with women, and especially my advanced courses. What relationships with real human beings you need to go back and clean up. You have some unfinished business. You have a hurt, an offense that's been lingering. It's now has you not talking to them. Oh, I don't deal with him anymore. I don't deal with her anymore. Oh, we don't talk. Oh, no. That's how a dry woman operates, cutting people off left and right. Not a juicy woman. She is a grown-ass woman. She's operating in her woman, not her girl. And she knows she has some stuff to clean up. Okay, go clean it up. We'll come back in a week. Let's share what we all had to clean up. Truthful. It's easy to ignore stuff and cut people off. That's easy and lazy. Woo! Got me going this morning. Thank you for putting that in the chat. Yes. So I'm about to wrap this up. But there's a different relationship to joy, to her mind, to her body temple, to her spirit, to her heart, to her energy, to her money. I could go on and on. It's a different world. You are in the culture, but not of the culture. Come on, somebody. Right now, as I sit here, there are multiple dimensions of life available. Dry woman mode is a certain dimension, but there's another dimension available. You know, I do a lot of flying. As I wrap this up, I do a lot of flying. And as you climb in that airplane, there's a point you get to where you're at about 30,000 feet. It's above the weather system. The clouds are down below you. Now, below you, there might be a storm raging. Below you, there might be a snowstorm. Below you, it might be a sunny day in a certain part of the country. But above the weather system is where planes that have a long haul, that's the altitude they fly at. And it's above the weather system. So while I'm on that airplane, listening to my high-toned, high-vibe, high-frequency music, and I'm being flooded with all of these great creative ideas because I love to journal and just write down all the ideas that come to me when I'm in an airplane because I'm above the density of the frequency of the physical plane of the earth that most people are operating at. So I get some of my greatest and juiciest ideas when I'm flying. I'm not watching movies on the back of someone's seat screen. No! Are you kidding me? I have my journal, pens, highlighters. Because it's a different altitude. And at the very moment that I'm in that airplane, chilled out, relaxed, having ideas flood in, below me at a lower altitude, someone could be involved in a storm and their roof is about to blow off. Lightning is striking. It doesn't negate their experience because at that very same moment, I'm at a different dimension and altitude having very different experience where they're having that at lower altitudes. So when you elevate to the consciousness of a sacred self-caring woman, and it does require an elevation, we're talking about transformation here, not just some behavior change and improvement and forward progress. That's like better water versus water to wine. We're talking transformation. We're talking caterpillar to butterfly, not the caterpillar just moving up one branch higher or inching along further on the branch. We're talking about a complete new creature, old creature, new creature. Once you're a butterfly, you cannot go back to being a caterpillar because you've experienced what? A transformation. So there's different fruit in the juicy woman land. There's different premises, principles, practices. And I'm here for those who say, I want to come out of dry woman land. I'm here to be your spiritual Harriet Tubman, your spiritual midwife. So if you are on this line with me today, and I just love how many people joined me today. Thank you. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank you. Thank you. Oh my goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Then I have a square one for you. I have these fabulous, powerful cohort programs. You sign up, you journey with a group of women over 6 months, 9 months, 12 months together, create this powerful and profound, tightly connected, loving, supportive community. And my team said, Debrena, you have all these amazing cohort programs, but what about someone who wants to get introduced to the Juicy Woman lifestyle at kind of the square one ground level? What do you have for her? So last year I created the Life Lab membership. So if you want to start to put a big toe in the water, you're not ready to go off the high dive, because I have my courses or graduate you up. You start at this level, and I have courses that move you up higher and higher and higher and higher elevations. But you have to understand how spiritual development works. It's different than personal development. Spiritual development operates on levels. You master a level, you're released to go to the next level. You master that level, you're released to go to the next level. You try to skip and leapfrog over a level, you'll be brought back to the level at which you're truly at. So, level 1, putting the big toe in the water with Debrena and getting exposed to this juicy woman lifestyle she's talking about. This new MO, this new mode. Where you begin is with my Life Lab. And how you find out about that, if someone could please type this in as we wrap up, my website, milliondollarmentor.net. Life Lab and milliondollarmentor.net. Let me see if I can do this without it. All right, my Life Lab is square one. And it's found at milliondollarmentor.net. As a matter of fact, just last night, we had teachings on how to nourish your feminine essence and your feminine energy, right? All this talk about masculine energy, feminine energy. Break it down. What are we talking about here? I broke it down. How do you actually increase your feminine energy? Don't just talk about it. How do you actually nourish your feminine core, your inner Garden of Eden? Let's just not talk about it. Let's be clear. What fertilizes it? What nourishes it? How real and present is it in your daily life? What can we begin to integrate into how you roll? A juicy woman understands what it takes to nourish her feminine core, therefore her feminine spirit, and therefore her feminine energy. And it's in play for real in her life. It's not a concept. It's not an affirmation on a wall. It's not a meme on Facebook or IG or TikTok. So, Life Lab membership. I invite you to go to milliondollarmentor.net. Check out Life Lab. This is square one. It takes a while to unlearn the old mode. That old mode, that reboot mode, that dry woman mode. Ooh, it's been in place so long. So you got to have a square one, a starting place. And I work with ready women, not just women who are frustrated and fed up from the old ways. I work with ready women who are up and ready for transformation, challenging the norms, the way they've been seeing themselves, life, God, others, how they've been showing up, engaging, and relating. It's another world. I want to pull you through a portal up into a new dimension. In the world, but not of the world. In the culture, but not of the culture. Yes. So, please check out Life Lab on my website, milliondollarmentor.net. Plus, I have all these amazing free gifts you can get just by going to my website. You can get a Sacred Self-Caring Woman's Toolkit. How about that? For free, with 3 gifts in it. And while you're there, you can check out the Life Lab right on the homepage. Here's the other thing. I've been doing, as I wrap up, love relationships courses since 2009. And then the book came out in 2014 after I had been doing live love academies around the country. And now for the first time ever, for the first time ever, y'all, on Sunday, September 29th, right here in the Northwest. I live in Seattle. If you all are familiar with Nate Jackson, the rising star comedian, actor, and owner of the largest Black-owned comedy club in America, that's my little brother. Yes, he's my little brother, my biological little brother. People like, wait, what? Nate is your brother, the one who was on Wild 'N Out? Yes. Nate is your brother, the one who was on the premiere feature movie. What was it with? Oh Lord, I'm forgetting the name. That's terrible. With Will Ferrell and Ryan Reynolds. I'm writing the time in here. Chill out. I'm writing the time in here. Seattle, Tacoma. So for the first time, I'm doing a live relationships event at the Super Funny Comedy Club. Oh my gosh. And it's called, are you ready? Relationships Reboot. Isn't that awesome? Because it's time for a reboot. Shut the whole system down. The madness, confusion, and chaos is so overwhelming right now. We got to shut the system down and reboot. We need a new ROS, Relationship Operating System. So Sunday, September 9th, right here in the Seattle-Tacoma area in Washington State. Fly on up. Come and see us. Relationships Reboot. Live co-ed event. We have the host, Back to Besa, Besa Gordon of the Back to Besa TV show on Fox 13. I am the featured guest. We have a panel of fabulous couples that will be sharing with you. We will have vendors. We will have lunch provided by one of the top Black restaurants here in the Northwest. We will have some fun things that we'll be doing to mix it up in the group and in the crowd and get some interaction going. We're going to have a DJ spinning the soulful hits. It's going to be wonderful. And it's only $39 a person. I know, special introductory price. Sunday, September 29th. I'm expecting it to be sold out. It's not even going live until next Tuesday. But I'm here to tell you all so you can have a heads up. Okay? So, Relationships Reboot, Sunday, September 29th. Keep an eye out for it. Would love to have you come into Seattle if you're from out of state. I already have some people that have told me, we're coming in from out of town. There are at least 70 new Black love marriages from graduates of my wisdom teachings around relationships. Single, married, divorced, widowed. Single, married, divorced, or widowed. Come on, is for you. I'm talking about a new paradigm, not the one based in the love lies that we've been taught, shown, and told. I'm talking about a new paradigm, and it produces very different fruit. Very different relationships fruit. All right? So, y'all, it's that time. We're going to go. Thank you for hanging out with me. Appreciate you. Oh my gosh. Thank you for tagging your friends. Thank you for showing up for the entire 1 hour. I was only going to go 45 minutes, but I got so excited because it's something greater is real. Woohoo. So I think, let's see. Should I do a broadcast next week? Let me know. Should I do a broadcast next week? It's going to be a whole new month, September. Should I do a broadcast? Should I? Let me know. Put it in the chat right now so I know. Should I do a broadcast next week? Yes, yes, yes. No, no, no. Yes, yes, yes. If you say yes, I hope you'll be there. Will you be here if I do another week? Next week? Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Should I? Okay, I think I'll do next week. Yes, okay. Thank you for all the exclamation points. Yes, okay. Thank you. Yes, who else? Should I? Okay. I'll be back next week. Will you be back next week with me? Will you bring a friend with you? Will you tag a friend? Will you be here with a friend? Yes. That's what I'm talking about. Well, ladies, thank you for joining me today. Living the Juicy Life. Something greater is available. Have a marvelous day. Thank you. And see you next Wednesday for Living the Juicy Life. That will be episode 7. Peace. Have a great one. Thank you.